पता नहीं क्या है, पाइप फट गया क्या? पता नहीं क्या है, पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? पाइप फट गया क्या? Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, What is this? I don't know. क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? पाइप फट गया क्या? हम पाइप फट गया, पता नहीं क्या है, हाँ हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very short. पता नहीं क्या है, What is this? I don't know. क्या है, हम पाइप फट गया क्या? पाइप फट गया क्या? हम पाइप फट गया, पता नहीं क्या है, हाँ हम पाइप फट गया क्या? हाँ मेरे को What is this? I don't know. Very shocking. What is this? I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 देखो. What is this? I don't know. Very shocking क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 देखो. What is this? I don't know. Very shocking क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 देखो. What is this? I don't know. Very shocking क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 हम 5:30 What is this? I don't know. Very shocking क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 हम 5:30 What is this? I don't know. शॉकिंग क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 हम 5:30 What is this? I don't know. शॉकिंग क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम 5:30 हम 5:30 शॉकिंग क्या है? हम 5:30 हम 5:30 What is this? I don't know. शॉकिंग क्या है? This I don't know. हम 5:30 हम
और चाहे किसी भी देश के द्वारा संचालित किया जा रहा हो। मिशन के निश्चितता और अनिश्चितता के बीच बहुत ही महीन अंतर होता है, जिससे कि एक मिशन सफल या असफल होता है। लेकिन ना हम थके ना हम हारे। हमने अपनी पिछली कमियों को सुधारते हुए आज पूरी तरह से आश्वस्त किया है कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल निश्चित तौर पे चंद्रमा चाहे किसी भी देश के द्वारा संचालित किया जा रहा हो। मिशन के निश्चितता की जानकारी के लिए अब हम बहुत ही महीन अंतर होता है सभी लूनर मिशन की एक मिशन संक्षिप्त विवरण या असफल होगा। जी हाँ, इसरो का पहला मून मिशन चंद्रयान-1 हमारे अक्टूबर 2008 में पीएसएलवी रॉकेट के द्वारा सफलतापूर्वक पूरी तरह से प्रक्षेपित किया गया था कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल चंद्रमा के सतह पर चाहे किसी भी देश के द्वारा पहले ही तैयार कर चुका है। यही कारण है निश्चितता की जानकारी के लिए तमाम हम बहुत ही महीन अंतर और सभी लूनर चंद्रमा को और करीब से जानने के लिए उत्सुक दिख रही हैं। लेकिन अगर हम बात करें चंद्रयान-2 की अक्टूबर 2008 दूसरा पीएसएलवी रॉकेट के द्वारा 2000 पूरी तरह से प्रक्षेपित किया गया है कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल चंद्रमा के सतह पर चाहे किसी भी देश के द्वारा पहले ही तैयार कर चुका है। यही कारण है चंद्रमा के 100 किलोमीटर के सर्कुलर ऑर्बिट में घूमते हुए बहुत ही उत्तम क्वालिटी का डेटा से जानने कर रहा है। जी हाँ, लेकिन अगर हम बात करें चंद्रयान-2 की अक्टूबर 2008 दूसरा पीएसएलवी रॉकेट के द्वारा 2000 पूरी तरह से प्रक्षेपित किया गया है कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल चंद्रमा के सतह पर चाहे किसी भी देश के द्वारा पहले ही तैयार कर चुका है। यही कारण है चंद्रमा की जानकारी के लिए तमाम सर्कुलर ऑर्बिट और सभी लूनर सबसे बेहतरीन कैमरा है जो कि चंद्रमा के सतह का लगातार पिक्चर भेज रहा है। अब मैं आरुषि जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि वो आप लोगों को इसरो के वर्तमान मिशन चंद्रयान-3 के बारे में बताएं।
अभी आपने मिश्रा जी के द्वारा सुना इसरो के अब तक के लूनार मिशंस का विवरण। अब चलते हैं टुवर्ड्स चंद्रयान।
नमस्कार, इसरो के इस महाअभियान से जुड़ने के लिए आप सादर आमंत्रित हैं। मैं पद्मदेव मिश्रा अपने को होस्ट श्रीमती आरुषि सेठ के साथ आप सभी को और देश विदेश से जुड़े सभी दर्शकों का हार्दिक अभिनंदन और स्वागत करता हूं। 23 अगस्त 2023 आज की शाम इसरो के वैज्ञानिकों और सभी अंतरिक्ष वैज्ञानिकों के साथ लैंडर मॉड्यूल को चंद्रमा के सतह पर उतरने के ऐतिहासिक पलों को देखने के लिए तैयार और उत्सुक हैं। जी हाँ, इसरो के गौरवपूर्ण इतिहास में एक और अध्याय जुड़ने जा रहा है और आज हम सब लोग इसके साक्षी बनेंगे। आप ये सारे विजुअल्स अपने स्क्रीन पर इसरो के मिशन ऑपरेशन कॉम्प्लेक्स यानी मॉक से देख रहे हैं, जो कि बेंगलुरु में स्थित टेलीमेट्री ट्रैकिंग एंड कमांड नेटवर्क स्ट्रैक से प्रसारित किया जा रहा है। ये विजुअल्स आपको पावर डिसेंट के काउंटडाउन और उस पथ को प्रदर्शित कर रहा है जिस पे चलकर लैंडर आज चंद्रमा के साउथ पोल पे सेफ और सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग करेगा। आपको ध्यान दिला दूं, इस समय हम लोग पावर डिसेंट शुरू होने से लगभग 22 मिनट दूर हैं। जो दर्शक थोड़ी देर से जुड़े हैं उनकी जानकारी के लिए बता दें, आप लोग इस ऐतिहासिक पल को इसरो के ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट, फेसबुक, ट्विटर और यूट्यूब पे भी देख सकते हैं।
Honorable dignitaries, delegates, scientists, media personnel, and dear viewers, a very good evening to all of you. We at ISRO welcome you to the live coverage of India's prestigious Chandrayaan-3 mission's landing event on the lunar surface. These are the visuals from Mission Operation Complex at ISRO's Telemetry Tracking and Command Network, ISTRAC, situated in Namma Bengaluru, Karnataka. I, Arushi Seth, and my colleague, Dr. Padamdeo Mishra, are your hosts for the evening and shall accompany you on the journey of the landing event from powered descent start to touchdown. Today, we shall be witnessing the final phase of the critical and most technologically challenging mission operations of Chandrayaan-3, wherein the lander module will be making a safe and soft landing on the surface of the moon. These display screens show the countdown to the power descent start as well as the path that will be followed by the lander module. We are 18 minutes away from the commencement of power descent. India is at the brink of creating history as we all await with bated breath to witness the landing on Moon's south polar region.
इसरो का पहला मून मिशन चंद्रयान 1 अक्टूबर 2008 में पीएसएलवी धन्यवाद आरुषि। अगर मैं सही मायने में कहूं तो अंतरिक्ष का कोई भी मिशन हो और चाहे किसी भी देश के द्वारा संचालित किया जा रहा हो, इसरो मिशन की निश्चितता और अनिश्चितता के बीच बहुत ही महीन अंतर होता है, जिससे कि एक मिशन सफल या असफल होता है। लेकिन ना हम थके ना हम हारे। हमने पिछली कमियों को सुधारते हुए आज पूरी तरह से आश्वस्त किया है कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल निश्चित तौर पे चंद्रमा के सतह पर सेफ और सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग करेगा। सभी दर्शकों के जानकारी के लिए अब हम इसरो के अब तक के सभी लूनर मिशंस को संक्षिप्त विवरण प्रस्तुत करेंगे। जी हाँ, इसरो का पहला मून मिशन चंद्रयान 1 अक्टूबर 2008 में पीएसएलवी रॉकेट के द्वारा सफलतापूर्वक प्रक्षेपित किया गया था। चंद्रयान 1 ने चंद्रमा के सतह पर पानी की खोज करके पहले ही इतिहास रच चुका है। यही कारण है कि आजकल विश्व के तमाम अंतरिक्ष वैज्ञानिक और स्पेस एजेंसियां चंद्रमा को और करीब से जानने के लिए उत्सुक दिख रही हैं। अगर हम बात करें चंद्रयान 2 की, जो इसरो का दूसरा मिशन है, जुलाई 2019 में इसरो के सबसे ताकतवर रॉकेट LVM-3 द्वारा सफलतापूर्वक प्रक्षेपित किया गया था और आज भी लगभग 4 साल बाद यह चंद्रमा के 100 किलोमीटर के सर्कुलर ऑर्बिट में घूमते हुए बहुत ही उत्तम क्वालिटी का डेटा प्रदान कर रहा है। मिशन के प्रारंभ में इसकी आयु 1 साल निर्धारित की गई थी, परंतु LVM-3 द्वारा बहुत ही सटीक इंजेक्शन और मिशन मैनेजमेंट की वजह से चंद्रयान 2 काफी लंबे समय तक कार्यरत रहेगा। अब तक चंद्रयान 2 चंद्रमा के लगभग सभी भागों का चित्र ले चुका है। इसका एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण पेलोड OHRC यानी कि ऑर्बिटर हाई रेजोल्यूशन कैमरा विश्व का सबसे बेहतरीन कैमरा है, जो कि चंद्रमा के सतह का लगातार पिक्चर भेज रहा है। अब मैं आरुषि जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि वो आप लोगों को इसरो के वर्तमान मिशन चंद्रयान 3 के बारे में बताएं।
अभी आपने मिश्रा जी के द्वारा सुना इसरो के अब तक के लूनार मिशंस का विवरण। अब चलते हैं टुवर्ड्स Chandrayaan-3, the follow-up mission of Chandrayaan-2, which has been designed to accomplish our mission goals. The primary objective of Chandrayaan-3 mission is the demonstration of safe and soft landing on the lunar surface. This demonstration is a critical aspect for ISRO's future interplanetary missions. In addition to this, the mission objectives also include demonstration of roving capability and conduction of in situ scientific experiments on Moon's surface. Carried on the shoulders of India's heaviest rocket LVM-3 on the 14th of July, Chandrayaan-3 was placed in the precise elliptic parking orbit of size 170 by 36,500 kilometers. ISRO, in its mission plan of following the incremental trajectory approach, carried a total of 5 earthbound maneuvers. The fifth apogee-raising maneuver, which took place on the 25th of July, placed the spacecraft in an orbit of 250 by 1,27,000 kilometers. At the early hours of 1st August, the translunar injection was carried out, after which the composite module began the final leg of its long journey of nearly 3,84,000 kilometers for its rendezvous with the Moon. The TLI was a key step in the mission, enabling the spacecraft to escape Earth's gravitational pull and travel to the Moon. An orbit of 288 by 3,69,328 kilometers was achieved at the end of the translunar injection.
जी हाँ, ट्रांसलूनर इंजेक्शन किसी भी इंटरप्लेनेटरी मिशन के लिए बहुत ही आवश्यक परंतु कठिन ऑपरेशन होता है। इस सफल मैन्यूवर के बाद चंद्रयान 3 पृथ्वी से दूर निकलकर चंद्रमा के प्रभाव क्षेत्र में एक हाइपरबोलिक ट्रेजेक्ट्री के द्वारा पहुंचाया गया। पुनः 5 अगस्त 2023 को लूनर ऑर्बिट इंसर्शन के द्वारा चंद्रयान 3 को 160 किलोमीटर के पेरीलून और 18,000 किलोमीटर के अपोलून के साथ चंद्रमा के इलिप्टिकल ऑर्बिट में स्थापित कर दिया गया। टीएलआई के तरह एलओआई भी एक बहुत जटिल ऑपरेशन होता है। इसमें हमें यह ध्यान देना आवश्यक होता है कि उपग्रह के वेगमान को एक निश्चित बिंदु से घटाया जा सके, अन्यथा उपग्रह चंद्रमा के प्रभाव क्षेत्र से बाहर निकल जाएगा। एलओआई के सफलतापूर्वक परिचालन के बाद चंद्रयान 3 की कक्षा को 4 बार और परिवर्तित किया गया। इस दौरान चंद्रमा की अधिकतम ऊंचाई को घटाकर 160 किलोमीटर कर दिया गया। इस पूरी प्रक्रिया में प्रपल्सन मॉड्यूल का लगभग 755 किलोग्राम ईंधन का उपयोग हुआ और चंद्रयान 3 के वेगमान को लगभग 850 मीटर प्रति सेकंड कम कर दिया गया। लैंडर मॉड्यूल को लगभग 150 किलोमीटर के सर्कुलर ऑर्बिट में स्थापित करने के बाद 17 अगस्त 2023 को प्रपल्सन मॉड्यूल से अलग कर दिया गया। पुनः लैंडर मॉडल के ऑर्बिट को 2 डीबूस्ट मैन्यूवर्स के द्वारा 150 किलोमीटर के सर्कुलर ऑर्बिट से घटाकर 25 गुणे 130 किलोमीटर के एलिप्टिकल ऑर्बिट में स्थापित कर दिया गया। इस दौरान यह भी सुनिश्चित कर दिया गया कि 800 न्यूटन के चारों थ्रोटेबल थ्रस्टर्स पावर डिसेंट के समय किसी भी चुनौती का सामना कर सकें। लैंडर मॉड्यूल इस ऑर्बिट में 4 दिन तक चंद्रमा की परिक्रमा करता रहा ताकि इसके सभी सब सिस्टम को पावर डिसेंट से पहले कार्यात्मक रूप से वेरीफाई और वैलिडेट किया जा सके। इस दौरान चंद्रयान 2 और लैंडर मॉड्यूल की आपस में बातचीत भी हो चुकी है। और संक्षेप में अब तक की यात्रा की बात करें तो लैंडर मॉड्यूल अब तक 21 बार पृथ्वी के और लगभग 120 बार चंद्रमा का चक्कर लगा चुका है और इस पूरी यात्रा में लगभग 55 लाख किलोमीटर की यात्रा भी पूरी कर चुका है। अब तक के इस पूरे अभियान में यह भी सुनिश्चित किया गया कि सारे ऑर्बिट मैन्यूवर्स इस प्रकार किए जाएं कि लैंडिंग साइट पावर डिसेंट की शुरुआत से ही लैंडर के ऑर्बिटल प्लेन में बना रहे।
Make it further that is true indeed. We have arrived at the crucial juncture wherein the orbit plane contains the desired landing site at the start of powered descent. We are also happy to announce that live images from the Chandrayaan-3 lander imager camera is being received continuously. The demonstration of soft landing on the moon's surface is no ordinary feat due to the innumerable challenges and complexities involved. The lander velocity has to be killed from nearly 6,048 kilometers per hour without any aid from the thin and tenuous moon's atmosphere. The lunar dust at the time of landing and the craters and boulders scattered over the moon's surface make it further complicated to achieve this. The new and improved Chandrayaan-3 design has been built after envisaging all the scenarios which the lander module can encounter. With several software improvements, provision for full-level redundancies, a plethora of special tests, namely the integrated hot test, integrated cold test, and lander leg drop tests were carried out for the lander module. The success of these tests has provided great confidence in the performance of all the onboard sensors, propulsion system, and associated guidance, control, and navigation algorithms. The key findings during the tests have enabled to improve the overall system performance. The largely unexplored south pole of the moon has been chosen as the intended landing site since there is a possibility of finding ice and other minerals which would be vital resources for future explorers. Apart from continuing investigations pioneered by Chandrayaan-1 and Chandrayaan-2, the Chandrayaan-3 mission will also provide invaluable data to the science community around the world. Let us give our viewers a glimpse on the configuration of Chandrayaan-3 mission.
चंद्रयान 3 का मिशन प्लान लगभग चंद्रयान 2 के तरह ही बनाया गया है। यहाँ यह भी सुनिश्चित किया गया है कि चंद्रयान 3 को रॉकेट से अलग होने से लेकर के चंद्रमा के निकटतम कक्षा में स्थापित होने तक सारी गतिविधियां चंद्रयान 2 के तरह ही हों। और अब हम यह कह सकते हैं कि यह प्लान पूरी तरह से 100% सफल रहा। हालांकि लैंडर मॉड्यूल के सेंसर्स और प्रोपल्शन सिस्टम को इस तरह से मजबूत किया गया है कि लैंडर पावर डिसेंट के समय किसी भी आपदा से बाहर आकर के मिशन के मुख्य उद्देश्य को पूरा कर सके। इस क्रम में लैंडर के मुख्य सेंसर्स कारा, लासा, एलएचबीसी, एलडीवी और एलएचडैक का कार्यात्मक परीक्षण भी किया जा चुका है। एलडीवी, जो कि पूर्णतः स्वदेशी तकनीकी से बनाया गया एक नया सेंसर है, इसका मुख्य कार्य लैंडर के वेलोसिटी को तीनों अक्षों में कंप्यूट करना है। पावर डिसेंट के दौरान लैंडर के सटीक पोजीशन और वेलोसिटी का ज्ञान होना बहुत ही आवश्यक है। लिराप यानी लेजर इनर्शियल रिफरेंसिंग एंड एक्सीलरोमीटर पैकेज इस कार्य को पावर डिसेंट के दौरान बखूबी निभाएगा। ट्रैजेक्टरी जनरेशन, जो कि चंद्रयान 3 मिशन के लिए बहुत ही अहम है, क्योंकि हर ऑर्बिट मैन्यूवर के बाद यह सुनिश्चित किया जाता है कि लैंडर की मिशन ऑब्जेक्टिव को ना बदले। इस क्रम में मैं यह भी आपको बता दूं कि ऑर्बिट डिटर्मिनेशन, जो कि उपग्रह के पोजीशन और वेलोसिटी को बहुत ही एक्यूरेटली बताता है, एक बहुत ही कठिन और जटिल कंप्यूटेशन और एस्टिमेशन होता है। यहाँ यह भी जानना महत्वपूर्ण है कि चंद्रयान 2 का OHRC पेलोड अब तक काफ़ी ऊंचे स्तर का डैम प्रदान किया है, जिसके फलस्वरूप लैंडिंग साइट के सीमा को बढ़ाकर 4 गुणे 2.4 किलोमीटर कर दिया गया है, जो कि पावर डिसेंट के दौरान सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग कराने में काफ़ी सहायक सिद्ध होगा।
Apart from the sensors, Chandrayaan-3 is equipped with a suite of sophisticated payload instruments. While Chandrayaan-1 and Chandrayaan-2 orbiter have provided abundant remote sensing data of Moon, equally important are the on-site localized measurements that provide ground truths. Lander and rover have payloads which are completely new and will perform in situ analysis of lunar surface. The two spectroscopes on rover, APXS and LIBS, will actively measure the surface elemental abundances at the landing location and surrounding area. The lander carries a seismometer ILSA that can sense impact events and lunar quakes. The thermal probe CHAST will measure the temperature profile and thermal conductivity of Moon's regolith. The Rambha payload will carry out lunar ionosphere studies, while the laser retroreflector array shall be a passive location indicator for future spacecraft equipped with laser altimeter. The propulsion module has not been left behind, and an experimental shape payload has been added to it as a value addition. It will help in understanding the nature and characteristics of water-rich planets and will also aid in the future study of potentially habitable exoplanets. We are minutes away from the start of powered descent. The entire powered descent shall be carried out by the onboard autonomous landing sequencer or ALS, which is a series of instructions preloaded to the lander module. These instructions include the commands to be executed, data to be collected and analyzed, and decisions to be made and executed autonomously throughout the powered descent.
जी हाँ, अब हम पावर डिसेंट के बहुत ही करीब आ चुके हैं। हम आपको बताते चलें कि पावर डिसेंट को कुल 4 चरणों में बांटा गया है। सबसे पहले आता है रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज, जिसमें लैंडर की ऊंचाई को चंद्रमा की सतह से 30 किलोमीटर से घटाकर 7.4 किलोमीटर कर दिया जाएगा। इस पूरी प्रक्रिया को पूरा करने में लगभग 11.5 मिनट लगेगा और इसका समानांतर वेग 1680 मीटर प्रति सेकंड से घटाकर 358 मीटर प्रति सेकंड हो जाएगा।
We have continuous flow of lander telemetry data from ISRO's Deep Space Network IDSN-32 located in Belalu, Bengaluru. The data is being acquired real-time by station and is flown to the Mission Operation Complex through our communication links. In addition to it, we also have support from ESA and JPL DSN stations. There will be no ground intervention once the ALS takes charge. The preparation for today's event had started 48 hours before, wherein various pre-selections and uplinking of parameters for the autonomous landing sequence were carried out. The whole descent is divided into 4 phases: the rough braking phase, the attitude hold phase, fine braking phase, and the local navigation phase or the terminal descent phase.
जी हाँ, एटीट्यूड होल्ड फेज, जो कि पावर डिसेंट का दूसरा चरण है, एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण फेज है। इस 10 सेकंड के स्मॉल ड्यूरेशन के दौरान लैंडर के दो महत्वपूर्ण सेंसर कारा और लासा लैंडर की ऊंचाई की गणना करेंगे। इस फेज के पूरा होते ही लैंडर चंद्रमा के सतह से कुल 6.8 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई पर होगा।
During the rough braking phase, the lander velocity shall be brought down from 1680 meters per second to 358 meters per second. The altitude will be brought down from 30 kilometers to 7.4 kilometers at the end of rough braking. Currently, we can see the scientists are analyzing the lander data.
जी हाँ, हम ये देख सकते हैं कि मिशन ऑपरेशन कॉम्प्लेक्स रूप में बैठे सभी वैज्ञानिक ये जो भी डेटा देख रहे हैं वो डीप स्पेस नेटवर्क आईडीएसएन 32 के द्वारा प्रोवाइड किया जा रहा है। और अगर हम अब बात करें पावर डिसेंट के तीसरे चरण का, जो कि फाइन ब्रेकिंग फेज होगा, जिसमें लैंडर लैंडिंग साइट से जस्ट 800 मीटर की ऊंचाई पर वर्टिकली होगा। इस चरण को पूरा होने में लगभग 3 मिनट लगेंगे और इस चरण के पूरा होते ही लैंडर की वेलोसिटी लगभग शून्य हो जाएगी।
The scientists here at ISTRAC are glued to their systems, analyzing all sorts of complex data. We are very close to the powered descent, to the start of the powered descent phase.
जी हाँ, अगर हम अब बात करें पावर डिसेंट के चौथे और अंतिम चरण का, जो कि लोकल नेविगेशन फेज या टर्मिनल डिसेंट फेज भी कहा जाता है, इस दौरान लैंडर के 2 इंजन बंद कर दिए जाएंगे और लैंडर के सेंसरों द्वारा इसके हाइट और वेलोसिटी की गणना इनर्शियल नेविगेशन को भेज दिया जाएगा। इस दौरान लैंडर 150 मीटर की ऊंचाई को प्राप्त करने के बाद कुल 131 सेकंड लगाएगा। इस पड़ाव पे आने के बाद पुनः लैंडर 22 सेकंड के लिए हवरिंग करेगा। इस समय अपने स्क्रीन पे मिशन ऑपरेशन कॉम्प्लेक्स में बैठे सभी मान्यगणों को देख सकते हैं, जो कि बहुत ही उत्सुकता के साथ टेलीमेट्री डेटा को देख रहे हैं। अभी हम लोग पावर डिसेंट शुरू होने से जस्ट कुछ ही पल दूर हैं। पावर डिसेंट शुरू होने में लगभग 30 सेकंड ही बचा है और हमको ये सारे डेटा मिशन ऑपरेशन कॉम्प्लेक्स रूम में आईडीएसएन 32 के द्वारा, जो कि लगातार लैंडर के कनेक्शन में बना हुआ है, प्रदान कर रहा है।
Dear viewers, the pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
जी हाँ, अब देख सकते हैं रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज की शुरुआत हो चुकी है।
During this rough braking phase, the lander velocity shall be brought down from 1680 meters per second to 358 meters per second. The altitude will be brought down from 30 kilometers to 7.4 kilometers at the end of rough braking. All this in the duration of 690 seconds or 11.5 minutes. Currently, the Laser Inertial Reference and Accelerometer package (LIRAP) is aiding in the navigation.
जी हाँ, अभी आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर अब तक कुल 191 किलोमीटर हॉरिजेंटल दिशा में चल चुका है और अभी तक इसकी वेलोसिटी लगभग 31 किलोमीटर बनी हुई है।
The lander module has traveled a distance of approximately 228 kilometers. The complete downrange that will be traveled during this phase shall be nearly 713.5 kilometers.
जी हाँ, कुल 745 किलोमीटर के इस रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज में आप देख सकते हैं कि हम लोग लगभग अपनी यात्रा 20% कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं। पावर डिसेंट की यह शुरुआत हम कह सकते हैं कि बहुत ही सटीक और सधी हुई है, जिसमें लैंडर अपने वेगमान को अनुमानित तरीके से घटा रहा है।
The altitude of the lander module will reduce from 7.4 kilometers to 6.8 kilometers. During the next phase, which is going to be the attitude hold phase. We can currently see that the altitude of the lander module is nearly 31 kilometers.
आरयूसीसी अभी हम इस ग्राउंड ट्रेस को देखते हुए कह सकते हैं कि रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज की शुरुआत बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से हुई है। आप ये देख सकती हैं कि जो भी प्रोजेक्टेड ग्राउंड ट्रेस है उसी पे अपना लैंडर मॉड्यूल आगे चलते हुए बढ़ रहा है। अभी तक ये देखा जा सकता है कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल लगभग 370 किलोमीटर क्षैतिज दिशा में चल चुका है।
The mission operations team is analyzing the data. We can all see the seriousness and the concentration with which each and every parameter of the lander module is being analyzed. The performance so far seems to be nominal.
जी आरुषि, चूंकि एएलएस एक्टिवेट किया जा चुका है इसलिए ग्राउंड से कोई कमांडिंग नहीं की जा रही है। इस दौरान आपके स्क्रीन पे सारे डेटा इसरो के डीप स्पेस नेटवर्क से रियल टाइम में आ रहे हैं। इस मिशन में सेकेंड और थर्ड ऑर्डर गाइडेंस पॉलिनोमियल का प्रयोग हुआ है, जो कि इनर्शियल थ्रस्ट और एंगल के हमेशा सुनिश्चित करेगा।
During the entire descent, there is no ground intervention as the ALS has taken charge. The preparation for today's event had started nearly 48 hours before, wherein various pre-selections and uplinking of parameters were done. We can see that the vertical velocity of the lander module has been brought down. It is continuously coming down. And the ALS had already been initiated 1 hour before the scheduled time of the power descent start. Following this, the throttleable engine electronics module, the TECM, was switched on and lander was oriented to the favorable attitude.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल जिसकी शुरुआत में वेलोसिटी 1680 मीटर पर सेकंड थी, लगभग 1150 मीटर पर सेकंड हो चुकी है, जो कि एक बहुत ही मैजेस्टिक शुरुआत कही जा सकती है इस रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज के लिए। यहाँ पे मैं आपको ये भी बताते चलूँ कि आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि द लैंडर मॉड्यूल का आल्टीट्यूड धीरे धीरे अब कम होता हुआ दिख रहा है, और जो कि एक्सपेक्टेड भी है। अभी हम बात करें करंट आल्टीट्यूड की, तो जो कि 28.6 किलोमीटर के आसपास है।
आप स्क्रीन पर ये भी देख सकते हैं Chandrayaan-3 lander imager display. The lander imager is continuously taking photographs of the moon's surface, and that is also being streamed here. Currently, the horizontal velocity has been brought down and the distance traveled is 574 kilometers. The current altitude is 27 kilometers as can be seen on the screen.
जी हाँ, करीब करीब अपने आधे सफ़र को पूरा करते हुए इस रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज में लैंडर बहुत ही आगे की तरफ बढ़ते हुए अपनी ऊंचाई को घटा रहा है। अगर अब बात करें तो लैंडर की ऊंचाई चंद्रमा के सतह से लगभग 27 किलोमीटर से नीचे हो चुकी है, करीब करीब 26.7 किलोमीटर के आसपास है।
The next phase after the rough braking phase is the attitude hold phase, which will be for a duration of nearly 10 seconds. The lander will be oriented such that both the altimeters will be looking exactly towards the moon's surface. At the end of this attitude hold phase, height measurement update to navigation system will be given from the laser and car band altimeters. Currently, we are in the middle of the rough braking phase.
जी हाँ, अगर हम ध्यान से देखें तो लगभग 8 मिनट की यात्रा के बाद लैंडर अपनी हॉरिजेंटल वेलोसिटी को लगातार कम करते हुए अपनी ऊंचाई, अभी की ऊंचाई के समय 24 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है। अब तक के आंकड़े को देखते हुए हम कह सकते हैं कि लैंडिंग पूरी तरह से नॉमिनल है। यहाँ पर हम देख सकते हैं कि हॉरिजेंटल वेलोसिटी लगातार कम होती हुई दिख रही है। The altitude of lander from ground is currently 22 kilometer, which is again going to be coming down, and that is expected.
For the viewers who have joined now, we are in the power descent phase, and we are in the rough braking phase, which is the first phase of the power descent. We have currently traveled a downrange of 697 kilometers, and the downrange that has to be traveled during this phase is 713.5 kilometers.
जी हाँ, अभी आप देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर की हॉरिजेंटल वेलोसिटी लगभग 720 मीटर प्रति सेकंड हो गई है। लगभग हम ये कह सकते हैं कि 900 मीटर प्रति सेकंड वेलोसिटी को कम किया जा चुका है। At the same time, we can see the altitude of the lander is just 17.8 kilometer from the moon surface, which is going to be around 7.4 at the end of the rough braking phase.
इस फेज के बाद हम जाएंगे टुवर्ड्स द attitude hold phase, where we will be expecting sensor update from the laser and car band altimeters. We can see the visualization of the lander module moving towards the moon's surface. The current altitude is nearly 15.2 kilometers and the distance traveled is 754 kilometers. We can also see the image that the lander imager camera has been providing.
जी हाँ, इस रफ ब्रेकिंग फेज के दौरान 800 न्यूटन के चारों थ्रोटल इंजन अपने कार्य को पूरी तरह से अंजाम दे रहे हैं और लैंडर के हॉरिजॉन्टल वेलोसिटी को लगातार कम कर रहे हैं। अब तक लैंडर लगभग अपने 75 से 80% की यात्रा को पूरा कर चुका है।
After the rough braking and the attitude hold phase, we shall be having the fine braking phase, which will continue for nearly 3 minutes. The whole phase is being driven by the autonomous landing sequencer and there is no intervention from ground.
जी हाँ आरुषि, अभी आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकती हैं कि जो करंट आल्टीट्यूड है चंद्रमा के सतह से लगभग 10 किलोमीटर के आसपास है। जी हाँ, हम अपने जी हाँ, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी हम सभी का उत्साहवर्धन करने के लिए दक्षिणी अफ्रीका के जोहानसबर्ग से जुड़ गए हैं।
Yes, we are privileged to have with us Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, who has joined us from South Africa's Johannesburg to encourage us.
जी हाँ, आप ये देख सकते हैं एल्टीट्यूड होल्ड फेस भी बहुत ही आसानी से लैंडर फेस ने पार कर लिया है और अब फाइन ब्रेकिंग की शुरुआत हो चुकी है। अभी हम ये देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर की ऊंचाई लगभग 5.6 किलोमीटर है, जो कि इस फेज के उपरांत लगभग 800 मीटर हो जाएगी।
We can hear from the mission operations team that the sensors are performing nominally, and we are currently in the midst of the fine braking phase, which is going to continue for 3 minutes, and the altitude is going to be reduced to nearly 800 meters at the end of this phase.
जी हाँ, जैसा कि आरुषि जी ने बताया कि लगभग 3 मिनट के उपरांत लैंडर की हाइट लगभग 800 मीटर वर्टिकली होगी और यहाँ पे लैंडर की हॉरिजेंटल वेलोसिटी, वर्टिकल वेलोसिटी, इवन डाउन रेंज भी लगभग शून्य होगा।
We can see the visual of the lander module, and we can see that the downrange traveled is nearly 831 kilometers.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर की ऊंचाई अब चंद्रमा के सतह से लगभग 3 किलोमीटर से कम हो चुकी है।
We are very close to the moon's surface, nearly 2.6 kilometers as we can see.
जी हाँ, अभी आप देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर की ऊंचाई लगभग 1 किलोमीटर के आसपास है।
We are nearing the final phase of the power descent, which is going to be the vertical descent phase or the local navigation phase.
जी हाँ, अब हम फाइन ब्रेकिंग वेव्स के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि हम लोगों ने तीसरे चरण को भी बहुत ही सफलतापूर्वक हासिल कर लिया है और अभी हम वर्टिकल डिसेंट फेज में आ चुके हैं, जिसकी शुरुआत भी बहुत ही अच्छे ढंग से हो चुकी है।
Lot of applause indicates that till now the performance has been nominal. We are in the vertical descent phase 1. The altitude is being brought down from 800 meters and we are nearing and approaching the lunar surface.
जी, आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर का हाइट लगातार कम होता जा रहा है। इस समय हम लैंडिंग साइट के जस्ट ऊपर हैं और इस समय इसकी ऊंचाई लगभग 600 मीटर के आसपास है। इस फेज के दौरान लगभग 150 मीटर के ऊंचाई पे पहुंचने के बाद लैंडर अगेन लगभग 20 से 22 सेकंड के लिए हॉवरिंग करेगा।
We are above the landing site. The horizontal as well as the vertical velocity is now being constantly reduced. And the lander module has begun its descent towards the landing site.
जी हाँ, आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं ये जो पथ निर्धारित किया गया है, लैंडर पूरी तरह से उसी को ही फॉलो कर रहा है। इस समय हम लगभग 200 मीटर की हाइट से भी कम आ चुके हैं। अब हम ये देख सकते हैं कि हम लगभग 150 मीटर की ऊंचाई पे हैं चंद्रमा के सतह से।
We are approaching the vertical descent phase 2, which will have the lander module hovering at nearly 150 meters above
जी
the
हाँ,
lunar surface.
जी हाँ, आप इस तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट को सुन सकते हैं, जो कि सेकंड हाइब्रिड फेज के कंप्लीट होने के बाद इन सारे वैज्ञानिकों के द्वारा की जा रही है। जी हाँ, आप अगर फिर से ध्यान से देखें तो एल्टीट्यूड पुनः कम होता जा रहा है। अभी हम लोग लगभग 135 मीटर की ऊंचाई पे हैं।
The sensors that are updating at this point are providing confirmation of the safety of the landing site.
As expected, the retargeting is going on and this is a very good signature for the lander. अभी आप ये देख सकते हैं कि लैंडर की ऊंचाई लगभग 65 मीटर के आसपास बची हुई है।
Currently, only 2 engines are now being fired, and we are nearly at zero velocity, vertical and horizontal. We were hovering, and now we are approaching the moon's surface.
धीरे धीरे लैंडर की वेगमान को कम किया जा रहा है और हम अब लगभग 50 मीटर से भी कम आ चुके हैं।
We can see the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, who is here to encourage us, and he is critically looking at the visuals.
जी हाँ, आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम लैंडर मॉड्यूल
people are applauding. Let
लैंडर
us all
मॉड्यूल
wait to hear from the Secretary, Department of Space and Chairman ISRO, Shri S. Somnath.
लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा के सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये हम लोगों के लिए बहुत ही गर्व की बात है। हिंदी में एक कहावत है कि चंदा मामा दूर के, लेकिन अब हम ये कह सकते हैं कि चंदा मामा अपने घर के।
बहुत ही उम्दा. The hard work of the entire ISRO community has come to fruition.
आदरणीय आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, नमस्कार। Sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon. Sir, I request our Honorable Prime Minister to address us and bless us. Thank you, sir.
मेरे प्यारे परिवारजनों, जब हम अपनी आंखों के सामने ऐसा इतिहास बनते हुए देखते हैं तो जीवन धन्य हो जाता है। ऐसी ऐतिहासिक घटनाएं राष्ट्र जीवन की चिरंजीव चेतना बन जाती है। ये पल अविस्मरणीय है। ये क्षण अभूतपूर्व है। ये क्षण विकसित भारत के शंखनाद का है। ये क्षण नए भारत के जयघोष का है। ये क्षण मुश्किलों के महासागर को पार करने का है। ये क्षण जीत के चंद्र पथ पर चलने का है। ये क्षण 140 करोड़ धड़कनों के सामर्थ्य का है। ये क्षण भारत में नई ऊर्जा, नया विश्वास, नई चेतना का है। ये क्षण भारत के उदयमान भाग्य के आह्वान का है। अमृत काल की प्रथम प्रभा में सफलता की ये अमृत वर्षा हुई है। हमने धरती पर संकल्प लिया और चांद पर उसे साकार किया। और हमारे वैज्ञानिक साथियों ने भी कहा, इंडिया इज नाउ ऑन द मून। आज हम अंतरिक्ष में नए भारत की नई उड़ान के साक्षी बने हैं। साथियों, मैं इस समय ब्रिक्स समिट में हिस्सा लेने के लिए दक्षिण अफ्रीका में हूं, लेकिन हर देशवासी की तरह मेरा मन चंद्रयान महाअभियान पर भी लगा हुआ था। नया इतिहास बनते ही हर भारतीय जश्न में डूब गया है। हर घर में उत्सव शुरू हो गया है। हृदय से मैं भी अपने देशवासियों के साथ, अपने परिवारजनों के साथ इस उमंग और उल्लास से जुड़ा हुआ हूं। मैं टीम चंद्रयान को, इसरो को और देश के सभी वैज्ञानिकों को जी जान से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, जिन्होंने इस पल के लिए वर्षों तक इतना परिश्रम किया है। उत्साह, उमंग, आनंद और भावुकता से भरे इस अद्भुत पल के लिए मैं 140 करोड़ देशवासियों को भी कोटि कोटि बधाइयां देता हूं। मेरे परिवारजनों, हमारे वैज्ञानिकों के परिश्रम और प्रतिभा से भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका। अब आज के बाद से चांद से जुड़े मिथक बदल जाएंगे, कथानक भी बदल जाएंगे और नई पीढ़ी के लिए कहावतें भी बदल जाएगी। भारत में तो हम सभी लोग धरती को मां कहते हैं और चांद को मामा बुलाते हैं। कभी कहा जाता था चंदा मामा बहुत दूर के हैं, चंदा मामा बहुत दूर के हैं। अब एक दिन वो भी आएगा जब बच्चे कहा करेंगे चंदा मामा बस एक टूर के हैं। फ्रेंड्स, on this joyous occasion, I would like to address all the people of the world, the people of every country and region. India's successful moon mission is not just India's alone. This is a year in which the world is witnessing India's G20 presidency. Our approach of one earth, one family, one future is resonating across the globe. This human-centric approach that we present and that we represent has been welcomed universally. Our moon mission is also based on the same human-centric approach. Therefore, this success belongs to all of humanity, and it will help moon missions by other countries in the future. I am confident that all countries in the world, including those from the global south, are capable of achieving such feats. We can all aspire for the moon and beyond. मेरे परिवारजनों, चंद्रयान महाअभियान के ये उपलब्धि भारत की उड़ान को चंद्रमा की कक्षाओं से आगे जाएगी। हम हमारे सौर मंडल की सीमाओं का सामर्थ्य परखेंगे और मानव के लिए ब्रह्मांड की अनेक संभावनाओं को साकार करने के लिए भी जरूर काम करेंगे। हमने भविष्य के लिए कई बड़े और महत्वाकांक्षी लक्ष्य तय किए हैं। जल्द ही सूर्य के विस्तृत अध्ययन के लिए इसरो आदित्य L1 मिशन लॉन्च करने जा रहा है। इसके बाद शुक्र भी इसरो के लक्ष्यों में से एक है। गगनयान के जरिए देश अपने पहले ह्यूमन स्पेस फ्लाइट मिशन के लिए भी पूरी तैयारी के साथ जुटा है। भारत बार बार ये साबित कर रहा है कि स्काई इज नॉट द लिमिट। साथियों, साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी देश के उज्जवल भविष्य का आधार है। इसलिए आज के इस दिन को देश हमेशा हमेशा के लिए याद रखेगा। यह दिन हम सभी को एक उज्जवल भविष्य की ओर बढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित करेगा। ये दिन हमें अपने संकल्पों की सिद्धि का रास्ता दिखाएगा। ये दिन इस बात का प्रतीक है कि हार से सबक लेकर जीत कैसे हासिल की जाती है। एक बार फिर देश के सभी वैज्ञानिकों को बहुत बहुत बधाई और भविष्य के मिशन के लिए ढेरों शुभकामनाएं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Adharaniya Pradhan Mantri ji, for being part of our journey to this success. And let me take this opportunity to thank the people behind this mission, the project director of Chandrayaan-3. He is here. Veera Muthuvel, congratulations to you. The associate project director, Kalpana, and the mission operations director, Srikanth. And the satellite was built at your house satellite center, Shankar and the director. Thank you, sir. Hello.
It's a great moment of happiness on behalf of team. It gives me immense satisfaction on achieving this goal as a project director of this mission. The entire mission operations right from launch till landing happened flawlessly as per the timeline, and we became the 4th country to demonstrate the soft landing onto the moon surface, and we became the first country to go to near to the south pole of the moon. I take this opportunity to thank navigation, guidance and control team, propulsion team, sensors team and all the mainframe subsystems team who have brought success to this mission. I also take the opportunity to thank the Critical Operations Review Committee for thoroughly reviewing the mission operations right from launch till this date. The target was on spot because of the review process. I also thank the ISRO higher management, right from Chairman ISRO, Director URSC and all the center directors and higher ISRO officials. And finally, my thanks to the Chandrayaan-3 project executives spread across the ISRO centers. Thank you.
Mission Director Srikanth.
It gives me an immense pleasure to be part of Chandrayaan-3 and acting as Mission Director. I would like to thank each and every team member who has supported in carrying out all the mission operations flawlessly. And I would like to thank my senior management, Chairman ISRO, Director URSC, my senior colleagues and my team members for carrying out and supporting all the things carrying out in a proper way. Thank you very much.
Associate Project Director Kalpana.
Good evening to all. This will remain the most memorable and the happiest moment for all of us, for our team Chandrayaan-3. We have achieved our goal flawlessly. From the day we started rebuilding our spacecraft after Chandrayaan-2 experience, it has been breathe in, breathe out Chandrayaan-3 for our team. And starting from the reconfiguration to all the special tests and the simulations we have conducted meticulously. And this has been possible only because of our immense effort from our Chandrayaan-3 team. And of course, with the guidance from our Chairman ISRO, our directors, and all our experts. With all this, it has been possible. Thank you, one and all. Thank you for all the minutest help which has been provided from all the areas of departments. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Chandrayaan-3 is a result of the work done by thousands of scientists, engineers, our staff, and industries, and support team across ISRO and other places, other institutions. And Shankaran has been the lead of the center which integrated all of these efforts in the last so many years. So I request him to speak on behalf of all of you.
Thank you very much for the affection that has been displayed today now. Today, we have achieved what we set out to achieve in 2019. It was delayed by about 4 years, but we have done it. When Chandrayaan-3 was launched, after the separation of the spacecraft from launch vehicle, I said, I will speak the rest of the things after the soft landing. So here I will take a couple of minutes to tell the tremendous amount of effort that has been put in by the entire project team. When I say project team, it is not just only the project director and associate project director. Of course, they are the face of the project. They have been living, sleeping, eating, breathing Chandrayaan for the last 4 years. They have been supported by such a large number of people, particularly in the navigation, guidance and control area, propulsion system. This area, the amount of effort that has been put by people, the number of simulations that have been done, the number of reviews they have gone through, the amount of criticism they faced and overcome that. It is, as a person who has been watching this for the last 4 years along with them, my heart goes out for them. The amount of effort is tremendous. That is what ISRO is all about. That is what our organization has taught us to do. Now today, this success has put us even more higher responsibility, as the Honorable Prime Minister was telling, because we have set the bar now so high. Nothing less spectacular than this is going to be inspiring for any of us in the future. So as the Honorable Prime Minister mentioned, we will be now looking at putting the man in space, putting a spacecraft around Venus and landing a craft in Mars. Work on all these activities are going on for a few years. And this success today will inspire us and will spur us to take those efforts even more strongly so that we will make our country proud again and again and again. Thank you very much for every one of you who have directly or indirectly participated in this mission, encouraged us, intentionally or unintentionally helped us in all for every one of you. A big thank you, because even casual remark, an unintended point can help a person who is striving to reach a goal. The person who is making that remark may not have meant it that way, but sometimes it can ignite that's why I said that even unintended help is very, very, very welcome, and we are very, very thankful for that. Thank you, Team ISRO, for supporting all of us. The amount of affection we received when this mission came into this final stage, the number of people who gave us confidence that nothing can go wrong, and this is going to be successful. In fact, I was not that much confident because we have seen a couple of times issues. Because I know very well, as a person who has been doing in this domain for 36 years, I know there are thousands of things. Any of that can anytime go wrong and derail. But so many of the people, because that I only see as the reflection of the effort we have put, that people are so happy to see this effort, and they want us to succeed. It is not that they know that we are going to succeed. The people want us to succeed. So thank you very much for everyone, for your love and affection. We will continue to do our best and make our flag fly, ISRO's as well as India's flag fly high. Thank you very much.
Honorable Prime Minister called me and conveyed his greetings to each one of you and your family, for the wonderful work you did in ISRO. Thanks are to him for the support that he is giving to us for missions like Chandrayaan-3 and the missions that are in the offing. I think that's a great word of comfort that we are receiving for pursuing the inspirational work that we are doing for the nation. I want to tell you, and I want to thank you also for each and everyone who prayed with us in the last many days, who wanted this success to happen in ISRO. I thank all those people all around the country and maybe beyond the country for their blessings and wishes and affection that he has given to each one of us for doing this work for the last so many years. I want to specifically thank some senior people who have been standing with us, especially the name of Kiran Kumar sir and Mr. Kamalakar, Sri Koteshwar Rao. They have been helping so much. They were part of the team to help them to get the confidence and get the reviews done to ensure that nothing goes with any mistakes. And of course, this is not the work of us alone. This is a work of a generation of ISRO leadership and ISRO scientists. And this is a journey we started in Chandrayaan-1, continued in Chandrayaan-2, and Chandrayaan-2 craft is still working and doing a lot of communication work with us. And all the team that contributed to building Chandrayaan-1 and Chandrayaan-2 should be remembered and thanked while we celebrate Chandrayaan-3. And this is an incremental progress and definitely a great, huge one it is. And thank you so much for all the support and work that you have done. Thank you.
Next session will take you to outer space, the stars, the galaxy, the planets. Whatever you see on the big screen will happen here right away. And I'd like to invite the session moderator, Mr. Raj Changappa, Group Editorial Director, Publishing India Today Group, the conversation, the Space Quest, and the speaker is S. Somnath, Chairman, Indian Space Research Organization.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
लिफ्ट ऑफ नॉर्मल
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन GSLV F.
The Shah ground station is currently tracking.
वर्तमान में प्रथम चरण प्रज्वलित है.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That spacecraft that you saw was GSLV F-12. And let's give the chairman of ISRO, Mr. S. Somnath, a very warm round of applause for that. Congratulations, Dr. Somnath, for that tremendous success. You've got that satellite up. But I wanted to look back a bit in 2021. A GSLV went up and there was a failure at that particular time. What was the problem at that time and how did you sort it out?
Once a failure occurred, we go through a very serious action of failure analysis. We collect all the data from the rocket, which is telemetered to the ground, and go through the simulations in the ground to see what could be the reason. See, Raj, you know that you can't retrieve the failed rocket, unlike the failed instruments that you may have in ground. Right. You can always probe and find out what exactly went wrong. But here we go through a process of called simulation and try to see what exactly could have gone wrong, and various
so what went wrong?
Hypotheses are put up. Okay, I'll come to that. Essentially, the issue in that mission was leakage of hydrogen. The hydrogen is there in the tank of the cryogenic stage, and at liftoff, there is a certain valve which is supposed to close. It did close, but it closed just a bit lesser than what it's supposed to be. Say a few microns, it left a gap there. And through the gap, the gas was leaking slowly, very, very slowly. But by the time it was just about to get ignited, the pressure in the tank was slightly below the threshold at which the pump will have to see a pressure. Unless that pressure is not there, the pump gets into a mode called cavitation. The cavitation is a condition in which the liquid will start boiling at the end of the pump. And once it starts boiling, it cannot pump it. Its speed increases, it doesn't deliver the liquid to the engine, and the engine stops developing. And our onboard computer found out that this engine is not developing the required thrust. So as to save the mission, it is told to cut off at that point and separate the satellite. So it did that, but unfortunately the satellite is not having the velocity, it will fall into the earth.
But congratulations for correcting that error that was there, fighting back, and that I think is the hallmark of ISRO. It never lets itself down. And I think that's a big lesson that you learned in terms of this thing. And of course, space is unforgiving. Even out of 99.9, you could get it right, but even that 0.1 could destroy whatever mission you had.
That's the challenge, and that's the beauty. So we enjoy it only because it is very risky business.
And while you were there, this satellite, I gather the NAV S1 or whatever the designation you've given it, is up in orbit and working at the moment, or is approaching its geostationary
We went through a process called raising the perigee to an apogee size. It was injected to an elliptical orbit of 170 kilometer by 40,000 kilometer. It has to be made 36,000 kilometers circular, and it also has to go to a precise location in its orbit, and also its inclination to the equator.
So the news is everything is normal on that.
Now we did all that processes. The final orbital correction is completed. It's already in the equatorial orbit, but it has to drift to reach the right place. That will happen in the next few weeks.
And you're confident that will happen? Yeah. Coming to the satellite itself, now India has built a GPS system. This is one of the, or maybe the fifth satellite that will go and sit up there and transmit. Why did we need a GPS system like that? We could have used the other GPS systems that America and others have. Why
so
do
we
this?
have been using GPS of the US. Let us understand, Raj, that the GPS is a US installation. It's a US creation. It was originally created for the strategic need of the...
The GPS, by the way, is all the Google stuff that you use in your car. And suddenly India has one, so just to explain, it's not a very technical thing.
It's a global constellation. It's there everywhere. You can see it. You can get the data in anything. But it was originally a military system. And realizing the commercial potential and the public utility, it was transferred to the civilian domain. But still they have the civilian segment and the military segment, which the military segment, none of you are able to access. Only their military installations and equipments can access that code, which is secured. Now, talk about the GPS. It gives you certain accuracy and availability. There are 2 points. One is called accuracy and second is availability. And availability in the control of the people who are actually providing it. So that means if they don't want to give GPS service at this location, it is possible for them to switch off or make it inferior, that your accuracies will drop to hundreds of meters. Now think of a situation that if you put GPS into any of our systems where we are doing vehicle tracking, railway monitoring, Aadhaar installations, or ship tracking, and also military equipments and devices, and the GPS is inferior at that point, in a situation which is of conflict situation, and somebody decided that it has to be inferior, then we are taken for granted. It cannot be. And we realize that it cannot be, and we need to have our own systems in case that you have a need to protect our installations and systems. And that's why we thought of a concept called IRNSS, which was later named as NAVIC. And this is not a global system like GPS. GPS is created as a global system because US needs it. They were a global military power. We are not. So we looked at it how a GPS system or equivalent can be made for India and its neighborhood, which will serve the purpose which I mentioned, which is basically a strategic purpose. So we defined a different architecture, which is not of GPS nature, which is a GPS goes in a MEO orbit where we are stationary. The satellites are stationary there and looking at only India. This gives us distinct advantage. It is much more accurate. It gives you less than 3 meter accuracy when all the 7 satellites are there, which is not GPS doesn't give.
So in effect, these set of satellites makes India self-sufficient.
Sure, yeah, it's not only self-sufficient, that you are the decider of your destiny. And what secure. You want to do with your satellites, you can decide.
Secure, strategic one. Yeah. But let's come to a more, I think this is the thing that's very popular. Chandrayaan is about to go up, and this is Chandrayaan-3. Yeah. Tell us about this mission, our mission to the moon, and what will it do? What's it different from Chandrayaan-2? And when is it going up?
Yeah, essentially, Chandrayaan-3 is similar to Chandrayaan-2 in terms of its architecture, the scientific objective, the mission, everything is same. But what we did is that we had a failure in landing safely at the required velocity in the lander, but the orbiter is still there. It is working beautifully, giving the scientific instruments, are doing the measurements, and we are getting enough of data. But the final target of landing softly on the moon could not be achieved. So we took pains to understand why it went wrong, and we are very clear in the similar lines as I mentioned about the GSLV. We did a failure analysis. We found out through simulations what could have gone wrong. Again, no message came from there, I am wrong here or bad here, but we could synthesize it and understand over a period of time.
And can you tell us what was the problem? Simply, we don't want too much of detail, we're not a technical thing.
Yeah, of course, I will tell you, it's an error. There was an error sitting in the software.
Sorry?
An error sitting in the software.
Okay.
But the error sitting in software will always will not be triggered because there are conditions that will drive you to that error. Those who are in software business will know that always software even if an error is there in the software, it may not be triggering, causing a mission failure. But there are some of the situations or some of the conditions prior to that drove the system to that software error. And once the software error occurred, the satellite lost its control. It couldn't realize that it is at this height, and this crash landed.
It was not anything to do with the mechanical processes of the lander that was there or any of that?
No, nothing to do with the mechanical element of it. But of course, there are some mechanical reasons behind the initial conditions which caused the later problem. So of course, that requires a lot of complex explanation, of course.
Sure. No, I mean, just a gist of it, you have been able to overcome it. You're confident. Now, this is going up when? In July?
No, we are trying to put the launch in a window which starts on 12th of June. It will be a very short window because we need to launch it only at the right time when the moon, sun, and the earth locations are appropriate for us to minimize energy required. So the date will be announced soon.
We're also quite excited about the fact that finally we are going to put India, our own mission in space, a manned mission,
yeah,
a manned mission in
yeah,
space.
Yeah.
Now, when is that going to happen? Everyone's asking, it's Gaganyaan. Where have we reached? What is the progress? And when can we see finally our indigenous effort to put
we want to make sure when that launch
women
happens.
in space, sorry.
Yeah,
I should
human
be
in
gender
space.
sensitive. Women in space as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So you always say human in space rather.
Human in space, okay.
Yeah. So when it happens, it must be the one in which we are very absolutely confident about its success. We have to reach that state. Of course, we know we have rockets which are flying safely. And all of you know, Raj, there can be anything that can go wrong in a rocket.
And if it really goes wrong, we need to save the crew. So crew escape system must be perfected. So the first goal is to perfect the crew escape system, and we are working on it. And it will take a few missions. Right now, we have to have at least 4 missions to demonstrate the crew escape system will work when it demanded at critical junctures in the mission. Second point is that we need to do unmanned missions, robotic missions initially to prove the end-to-end capability of the design, development, communication, networking, and bringing it back, all are working properly. And that has to be repeated at least 2 times, maybe more. We'll have to see. And all of this is success-based idea. Now, if anything goes wrong here, it requires correction and further launches. So I'm not putting the date for the launch of the final human mission. It's not important at this moment. Our focus is to do what is needed to reach that point. And when it reaches the point, all of you will tell, why don't you do the human mission now? Most of the nation will tell us, you are ready for it, you do it.
Right.
So it is my responsibility to showcase to the nation, the scientists, that we are reaching that state. Right. Otherwise, all of you will criticize me. If I take a plunge into it and cause a hardship to anybody who actually flies on the vehicle, you won't pardon me. Right. And the nation won't pardon you. And it's very important for us to do very carefully. Unless you do that carefully, this will not be sustained in India.
Human lives involved.
You think of a situation that there is the first mission, there is a failure and human life is lost. Do you think that we will repeat it? It will be extremely difficult for all of us to reach a situation that, yes, we will try once again. Not possible. So we have to have absolute clarity on either we go to orbit, or if you face a mission failure or any other problem, we save the crew. This has to be done. So that is the essence of the whole work.
So essentially what you're doing now is there is a crew safety system, which means if there is a failure after takeoff, the crew can be ejected out, and that's what you're going to test right now.
Precisely, yes. Yeah.
That's the one. The second thing that you're saying next year is you will have a crew spacecraft, but there will be nobody inside it.
Correct.
It'll orbit so that you'll know whether it is safe. Have you also built the environment, because you need the oxygen and you have to make it human compatible? Has that also technology been achieved?
Yeah, it's a difficult technology. Only very few nations have really. It's available only in 3 nations today. And we approach them for help in developing it. But the help is not that forthcoming. I think you must understand that it is not easy to get those helps. Some of them offered it, but they were telling they will take few years to develop it, and at exorbitant cost. And after analyzing the merit of these offers, we decided that we are not going to depend on them. We are going to develop it on our own. And work has started. And we have reached a certain condition in which we are now integrated them and started testing it. It's a great news. But again, it's the first prototype that we have just made.
So we are building our own environment.
Using our own knowledge, our own skills in our industry.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, let's give them this thing. So that technology is very critical. They don't like to part with it. Okay. Okay, and so where have we reached in that? We've now...
So we will be putting some part of it in our first unmanned mission. We will test whether the oxygen supply, the air conditioning, the water supply and removal of the humidity, the waste disposal, and oxygen, cleanliness of the air. So there are so many fire protection. All of these are built into it. I think we are trying to see that with unmanned mission it works well.
Just a ABC question. Yeah. What about the spacesuit? We'll have our own spacesuit with the color and everything?
We have our own spacesuit. It is under development. We made at least 5 different prototypes from, again, using the industrial system support available in India. But for the first mission, we purchased some spacesuits and kept in the shelf for guarantee of our crew. And we will take a decision whether to use it or not at the appropriate time.
What about Indian food? Are you going to serve Indian food?
Of course, only Indian food. And there are enough of industries, scientific research labs in India who is working on aerospace food. And they have developed quite a lot of food. And we have brought in specialists from NASA.
What will you get? Idli sambar, or what will you get?
No, they won't be able to eat idli and sambar in their short duration mission. But when they are in long duration mission, they will be able to eat chicken and various other things. That's no issue for them.
And all the good masalas can be put.
All of them, yes. But for short missions, it will be in a different form. They will be in a pelletized tube and similar forms, because they won't be in a position to move and prepare it. So the short duration missions, like 1 day to 1 week missions, they will have one type of food. Whereas for long duration mission, they need to take it out of the short sleeve environment. The entire food will be of similar nature that as we eat.
And what about the astronauts that are going, or what do we call them? Gagannauts, as we call them here. How many have been selected, shortlisted, and are there women in that? And how many crew will actually go up finally?
See, the astronaut pool is something that we need to develop over a period of time. So what we did is we have only one astronaut in India, Rakesh Sharma. Of course, he has gone in a Russian vehicle, and we have huge amount of exposure, experience from him shared with us. And he's with us while we are selecting, training the people. The only place I can look for astronaut is Indian Air Force. And they are the pilots who have the ability to withstand those type of environment. And we have picked four such pilots who are into the fighter plane. They were testing pilots, and they have joined us as astronaut trainees. And they have gone through the entire training program in other countries. They have come back. We are setting up the training facilities, and they are going through coursework, simulation training, etc. Now they are student trainees of astronauts, and they will graduate themselves, and using their exposure to whatever training they have done, we are designing and developing the module which they sit. So it's actually designing a car in which a driver is already experienced with, and his experience is used in designing the car. It's something like that, yeah.
And is there any female in that thing? Will we see India's
See,
first?
right now we don't have even fighter pilots.
Right.
Women are not there. So naturally, when I look for them, they are not available at this moment. I'm sure they will come at maybe a little later when we expand the pool.
Now, just a comparative thing. We have seen, various private companies going up to space. You had Bezos's company, Jeff Bezos. You had our Elon Musk. They are putting up people into space. This thing. What is why is ISRO taking so long? If these chaps can come 10 years, 15 years, and then put someone up in space, and here we've had a space program that is almost contiguous now, 50 years. Why hasn't it happened more quickly in India?
I think you need to understand the background on which that has really been developed in US. When the US was sending space shuttle mission, they faced two very, very critical failures, and they had to shelve space shuttle. And when they stopped space shuttle launches, where it was capable of sending human space mission, America had no launch vehicle capable of taking human beings to space. And they were sending the human beings in a Russian craft for many years later. So for next 7 to 8 years, they had no rocket taking human beings to space. And they took a challenge in US when they shut down space shuttle. They funded heavily the private companies like Boeing, the SpaceX, etc., and multiple companies, government-funded money to create this capability. It is not a private company just like that doing a human spaceflight mission. The entire NASA experience is behind them. And using the already developed systems, knowledge, and skills of the NASA, the private companies could develop with huge funding from the government. And SpaceX itself took 11 years to develop the capability. Let us not forget the part. The initial rockets were failing one after another. And he was bankrupt, Just forget about the human launch, even the first taking of the rocket and landing, he couldn't achieve over a period of time. But it takes persistent effort and money and investment. And of course, you need a good leadership, of course, to create this capability. There is only one example, SpaceX. Of course, Bezos is developing rocket. It has not still been an operational rocket or launching satellites. He has developed capability. But Elon Musk is definitely an inspiration for all of us to see how a private entrepreneur is able to create a booming business in space. And it's an eye-opener for all the people in the world.
What about what developments that are happening in China? We see that China has close to 60 space missions every year. They have now announced that they would put their own human in the moon pretty quickly by 2030. How is that they are able to do so much and our ambitions are much lower? What's the reason behind that?
See, here again, I need to understand the geopolitics of space. It doesn't go just like the technology alone. See, when the Russians were collapsing and the nation was disintegrating and the Ukrainian space domain, which was essentially the technology support for the Russians, was not having any possibility of getting into space because they became a landlocked country. The entire space technology in Ukraine was for sale. Okay, and it was the Chinese who took advantage of the situation and they moved much of the people, knowledge, skill in Ukraine and also partially in Russia to China. And whatever they developed at that point in time was based on this core knowledge available in those parts of the countries. Of course, they may agree, they may not disagree, but that's what we know about it. But then I can't underplay what they did because they had a huge support from the government. There is a huge investment. At least 10 times the people of space sector working in India are working in space sector. and they wanted it as a target to demonstrate their national superiority. It is not for science alone, for technology alone. I don't see there is a huge amount of business happening in China on account of space missions and human space activity. But they want to showcase that they are a superpower. Of course, it is their policy and decision that they need to do. But as scientists and engineers, we are excited to see even China doing wonderful things like the human space missions, their plan to go to moon, etc., etc.